Joining us now, a guy who is fighting against corporate Democrats and Republicans in the middle of Kansas, planting the progressive flag, Brent Welder, running in the 3rd District of Kansas. Brent joins us again. Brent, good to see you, brother. How you doing?
Hey, great. It's so good to be back. I've been missing you guys. It's been, I think, a month and a half or something. There's been a lot.
Wow.
How's it going, Brent?
Too long.
I know, crazy, right? Hey, John, how's it going?
Right.
Good.
So for those of you who don't remember, Brent is a wonderful progressive. He was a Bernie Sanders delegate, and what he proposed was a resolution for the Democratic Party to stand up to call for an amendment to get money out of politics. They rejected it, but I love that you fought on that. He's also was a volunteer for Wolfpack and a TYT member. And last we checked in, he was. There was a poll that said that he was beating his Republican opponent by 7 points. So we want to get the latest on that. And Brent, before you even start, I want to show people we were raising money for Brent because he helped us raise money for this studio and for our reporters, etc. And I want to check in on tytkansas.com, and I want to do that throughout the night because I know we're trying to raise $50,000 for your. I love when you come in with the props.
Same sign from before.
Yeah. Okay. Full screen. Now put it up again. Oh no, there. Wait. Full screen. Here we go. There you go. Okay. So we want to make sure that he can have organizers to organize his volunteers on the grassroots level. So if you guys can you show us? We were trying to get 50. tytkansas.com. 47,116. Not bad. Not bad. Can I see 50,000 tonight? Can I see 50,000 tonight? Let's finish it. Let's get him the volunteers he needs.
Let me say, I should have mentioned at the beginning, I am with you live from our new field office right behind me. We literally just opened it this week. We've hired several field staffers since last time I checked in with you guys, and it's all because of you. And another update, we actually last quarter raised more money than any Democratic challenger in the history of our district. And the previous record was $215,000. We raised $240,000, and $40,000 of that at the time was from the TYT Army. So literally, the TYT Army broke that record for us. And if you guys hadn't helped us out, there's no way we could have done it. I just appreciate everything you guys are doing. I really do.
That's wonderful, man. So, Brent, you're, I don't know, lucky, whatever it might be, that you got a poll in your district, because a lot of people don't even get a poll. And polls showed that you're in fantastic shape. So I'm curious what's happened since then. Since you're beating the incumbent by 7 points, have any of the other primary opponents dropped out, or the? And this is a real question. I don't. Democratic Party would be crazy not to support you. That is a very winnable district. It voted for Bernie in the primaries, Hillary Clinton in the general election, and you're already beating the incumbent in the polling. And so they should be helping you. And I'm not. This is not a setup. I really don't know. Have they actually come in to support you yet?
Well, we lead in cash on hand. We lead in volunteers. We have been endorsed by every major progressive organization locally and nationally. Clearly, I think we have the best message. We're running on Medicare for all, $15 minimum wage. So you would think, sounds like a pretty good candidate for the Dems to get behind. We're already defeating the Republican incumbent by the largest margin of any Democratic challenger in the country. But no, the Democratic field has been growing. I think the establishment has been recruiting more people. I literally now am running against a Wall Street banker that said that when they get into Congress, they want to serve on a committee that allows them to be the ones regulating Wall Street. Imagine that. So we are in the fight of our lives right now. Even though we are leading in cash on hand, it's very, very close money-wise, and it's a very expensive race. We're in one of the counties in my area is one of the wealthiest counties in the country, and there's a lot of money rolling in for the Wall Street banker, who's also a self-funder, as well as other corporate Democrats, not to mention the Republicans. So there's no way we could be doing this with the strength that we are without your guys' help. So thank you so much for that.
Man, that is unreal. Even at this late stage, I'm still a little naive, even though we've covered it 8 ways to Sunday and I know it. But I mean, if you don't help the Democrat with the largest margin against an incumbent Republican, are you really the Democratic Party? And so they're obsessed with finding conservatives and bankers, and you have more money. It makes no sense.
That's supposed to be the thing.
Right.
They always say, well, they got more funding. We kind of got to support them.
But I'll
Right.
tell you guys what we have the chance to do here. Okay. When I first got into this race, people told me I was crazy. No candidate in Kansas history has ever, tried to run on this kind of extremely progressive agenda, to focus completely on a grassroots campaign. They said it couldn't be done. They said we couldn't raise the money. And I remember when that poll came out, and I actually got a chance to speak to you, Cenk, about it. And I remember what you said. I said, this is amazing. Can you believe it? This is unreal. This is unbelievable. And you said, no, it's believable. You said, you told me, and you reminded me that the first time I came on your show, you told me that this was going to happen, and that the whole reason that we are winning by so much is because we're proving that a bold progressive agenda representing regular people instead of the giant corporations is not only good policy, which it obviously is, but it's also really good electorally. And it's the reason that we're running such a strong campaign. And now, we have this huge hurdle in the primary. And, the differences between me and my primary opponents could not be more clear. I basically have a group of people that are trying to out-conservative one another, out-right-wing one another. They want to be the ones regulating Wall Street when they were frankly, part of the problem when they were working for Wall Street. And we have me who, worked as a volunteer for Wolfpack, was the one who wrote the amendment for the Democratic National Platform to try to say that as a party, we will stand to get corporate money out of politics. That amendment failed narrowly. And I made the decision then that Washington needs to change. The politicians in Washington need to change. And frankly, it's not a problem of just the Republican Party. It's a problem across Washington of all political parties, but we can really make a difference. And when we elect a progressive in the state of Kansas, it's going to turn heads nationwide, and people are going to see that progressive policies are not just good policy, but also really good electorally as well.
Yeah, there's some progressive candidates out there that are so super strong. And that's why, Brent, when you were first on, I was like, man, this guy's got winner written all over him. And so, but a big test of that tonight is Greg Edwards in Pennsylvania. And then there's Allison Artson in California. And these are the ones that I think, look, I believe in strength. And they're strong. They're fighting for progressives. Instead of Mary Wilson in Texas, Adrian Bell in Texas. There's some really strong candidates that I think carry that progressive flag proudly, whether the Democratic Party wants it or not. And so tytkansas.com is to donate. We got to get over 50,000 tonight. And then, Brent, your tell everybody what your website is so they can check out your positions.
BrentWelder.com, Brent with an N, Welder like the job. I'll mention, I know Greg Edwards. One thing that I think the TYT Army should know is that a lot of us progressive Justice Democrats from around the country actually stay in touch with each other and communicate and talk about strategy and kind of, push each other along. And I was out in D.C. with Greg Edwards and a number of other progressive candidates, and we were actually lighting up Paul Ryan, and we dropped thousands, tens of thousands of signatures at his office door on some important policies at the time. And I actually spoke with Greg Edwards this morning to wish him luck today, and he said that they have knocked 60,000 doors and made 60,000 phone calls.
Wow.
And it's because of the strength of the progressives across the country and people like the TYT Army and supporters of Justice Democrats that he's able to do that.
And if you go to BrentWelder.com, you can figure out how to volunteer too. Find out Brent's positions and then get in the fight. If you're in the 3rd District of Kansas, you're near there, get out there, knock on doors, make calls, etc. Now, Brent, one of your opponents had the funniest campaign slogans I'd ever seen. We got another one that was great. One of the incumbent Democrats running against a Just Democrat in Illinois was Danny Davis, the name you know. That's it. I'm not going to do anything for you, but it's just the name you know. But tell folks the slogans of your Democratic opponents. He's a friend of mine and a nice guy. I see him on the trail, but we have some real serious disagreements policy-wise, obviously. His slogans include leading from the middle and the courage to compromise.
Oh God.
Oh my God!
But I'll say there is maybe there is a lot of I don't know if I'd call it misinformation or kind of like wrong thinking out there that the way to win in districts like this, for instance, in the state of Kansas, is to act like a Republican. But we're proving that that's absolutely not the case. And the Democrats in this district haven't won this congressional district for 10 years. And they've been trying to run candidates that are corporatists, that are Republican light, and it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. And now, as we've talked about, we are pulling so strongly against the Republican incumbent. And I know if we can get through this tough primary, we're going to, prove to the entire country that, we don't need capitulation. We don't need moving to the right. We don't need to be a little bit like Donald Trump. We need a clear break from the Republican failed policies, the way that they're going. And we need to prove exactly to everybody how we're going to help working people. And we're going to do it.
All right, so Brent, last couple of things here. And by the way, I do want to check it on tytkansas.com before we go. And what I love is the individual donor number. So if we can get that up, so $3, $7, $27, whatever you can. You want to do more, bless your heart. Let's get to 50,000 and put a real progressive in to Congress from Kansas. But just give me an update on, so let people know when the primary is, and then an update on your volunteers. So part of the reason you're raising the money is for the volunteers. We see the new office, but do you have any other news on that?
Yes, I was just checking in with my field director just before I came on with you guys, and we have hundreds of volunteers. We've been knocking thousands of doors and we've made even 6 times more phone calls than we have knocked doors, because we had, over the winter we were doing a lot of calls. We have 2 field offices now, 4 field staffers, and if people go to brentwelder.com/volunteer, that's the place to sign up to volunteer. And I've mentioned this before on this show. Every time we get volunteers in the office, my favorite thing to do is go around and meet every single one of them, talk to them for a while, get a picture with them. And the thing I always do is ask them, where did you find out about us? And literally half of our volunteers come to us through either TYT or Justice Democrats. And it makes a huge difference. It just, with us being able to get out there and talk to thousands and thousands of voters every week, every month, hearing my name. Actually, the Kansas City Star just followed me around knocking doors and did a whole story about how strong our field operation is. And people are really starting to realize this is really the way to get it done.
I love it. So when's the primary in Kansas?
Oh, August 7th.
Okay, so you got a while. Oh, the other dudes are in a lot of trouble. You're pipe hitting volunteers, a couple hundred of them going door to door. Those poor some bitches trying to lead from the middle. Anyway, all right, before Brent goes, let me see tytkansas.com one more time. Let me see where it is. Okay, no. Yeah, sometimes it takes a while to update.
It's always a lag, but I guarantee you, I always say this every time, it's significantly higher than that. We have less than $3,000 to go to our goal. Let's get it done. I can't do it without you. And literally every single donation counts. We've actually gotten over 9,500 donations in this campaign so far. And I get an email every single time. So if you send it, I'll see your name. And whether it's $2 or $5 or $10 or $27, whatever it is, it all adds up, because when there's thousands and thousands of people across the country in all 50 states donating, your donation is 99,000 times bigger than whatever you did.
Yeah, and that is an enormous amount of individual donors in a district in the middle of Kansas. So Brent Welder, fighting the good fight. Keep going, brother. And hopefully we'll see you on the night of August 7th and then in an early week in November. Okay?
Thank you so much, and good luck to my fellow Justice Dems and progressives around the country tonight. And let's keep the fight going, guys. We're going to do this. This is amazing. We're changing the country right before everyone's eyes.
All right, wonderful. And if you're watching this interview later on YouTube or Facebook, all the links for Brent will be down below. You can just click on them. All right, thank you, Brent.